Chapter 11. Chief Engineer Hun Bunt Species. Gaunt Location. Classified. So we're pulling doubles all week? Anris asked. Yeah, we have to get this job done, I replied, not looking up from my terminal. Fleet's going to be needing these ships sooner than later. Pretty sure that's sooner rather than later, boss. Anris crossed his arms. Jesus, can't believe we got to build a bunch of dreadnoughts just so that the US can play with its new war crime cannon, Sam said. Wasn't the NIDUG a massive undertaking that took years to finish? Decades. But the tech moved on, and we're using an assembly line strategy this time around, I said. Get back to work. The human and Gaunt pair grumbled and left my office. Once the door closed, I chuckled to myself. They may moan and complain, but they love the job and the extra pay for the hard work. There's also the satisfaction of watching a ship that you built undock and fly away. I'd worked hard to get where I am, but I miss that feeling dearly. There are other things that I miss about working the lines. Not knowing just how badly these dreadnoughts are needed, for one thing. Also, in my old position, I wouldn't have been able to tell that something is odd about these assembly lines. I'd gladly work doubles if it meant that I didn't have to worry about keeping secrets so damned often. Sam and Anris don't know how good they have it. A massive undertaking, I repeated, to myself. Massive doesn't even quite do it justice. The USS Needhug had taken the combined efforts of all of the United Systems to accomplish. It's still the biggest and most advanced ship we've ever created, even all these years later. The sheer amount of materials that went into it was staggering, and we'd had to replace parts as new discoveries were made as well. Most of the engineers who had taken on the challenge ended up with substance abuse issues, but they got one hell of a payday to make up for it. I sighed and closed my eyes, pressing my fingers against them slightly. We can get it done, and we can get it done on time. It's just a matter of strategy. The right workers in the right spots for the right amount of time. As long as the parts keep coming in on time, we'll be fine. A beep notified me that I had a new mail waiting. I didn't even have to open my eyes to know who sent it, though. From USAAI Omega. To Chief Engineer Hun Bunt. Subject, Staffing Assignments. I finished the staff assignments for this week. New staff will arrive tomorrow. See attachment for details. New staff? We're fully staffed right now. What does it mean, new staff? Replacements or something? I opened the attachment and my jaw dropped. Omega was double staffing us. I leaned back in my chair and stared at the ceiling for a moment. Until now, I'd been told we were going to be pulling double shifts indefinitely, and I had already spread the word. My guys are complaining about the long hours, but they'll complain even louder about the canceled overtime. I could probably spin it on them, though, use their complaints about the double shifts to justify the change, and maybe even teach them a lesson while I'm at it. Yeah, right, that'd be the day. I let out a heavy sigh, knowing that if I don't at least try to convince Omega to let them have the OT, they'll rip me a new one. From Chief Engineer Hun Bunt. To USAAI Omega. Subject, Re-staffing assignments. While I appreciate your assistance in handling the scheduling of the employees, canceling the overtime may result in employee dissatisfaction, which could impede progress. I humbly request that you kindly reconsider. I reread the message a few times to make sure it sounded professional and that I hadn't made any spelling mistakes. Omega might be a machine, but it's a machine that tells my boss what to do, so I don't want to get on its bad side. It just needed to realize that the guys don't mean it when they're complaining about having to work long shifts. Some of them really need the money. How? A voice asked. I jumped and looked around, but there wasn't anyone else in my office. Where did that voice come from? Above me? I jumped again when my terminal shut off and a hologram appeared in its place. The hologram was a robed humanoid holding a curved blade attached to a long stick. This wasn't a call or anything. This is an avatar, and those are used by AIs. Oh, what? I stammered. Why will the workers be dissatisfied, and how will that impede progress? Omega asked again. They want the overtime. They might be complaining about it, but that's just hot air, I explained. Complaining is a tradition in construction, you see. Some of the guys really need the money, and all of them want the money. If we yank that carrot out from in front of them, they're not going to perform as efficiently. I didn't add the new staff to address their complaints. I did so to make certain the workers are rested enough that they don't make avoidable errors. Ah, I see, I said. But your intention doesn't change the result. The word regarding the double shifts has already been spread, so they're all expecting the OT regardless. Organic operators have an increased tendency to make mistakes when they're overworked, and unfortunately, this project is extremely time-sensitive. We have to move as fast as possible without any errors. We cannot afford to go back and fix mistakes. We silently stared at each other for a moment, or rather, I stared at its holographic avatar. I see you don't have a solution, just the problem. Omega broke the silence. Well, how would bonuses impact their efficiency? A bonus for every ship completed on time, matching what they would have made with the double shifts, should work. Yes. For the new employees too? Of course. If the new employees found out they were being left out, we'd have the same morale issue, wouldn't we? Yeah, I guess, I said hesitantly. That's a ton of money, though, especially accounting for all the materials costs. This project is that important. It is. You have the proper security credentials. Would you like to know why? Omega asked. The tone in which the AI asked that suggested that I should decline, that I'd be better off not knowing. I'm not exactly one to put my nose in someone else's business unless I have to, but this is insane. The amount of money being spent, the tight deadline, and the very fact that I'm interacting with a very high-ranking AI right now leads me to believe that I need to know. Well, it's the MPPs, right? I asked. Not just. I thought for a few more moments before curiosity finally got the better of me. I nodded to Omega. Understood. Check your messages, it said as its avatar disappeared and my terminal reappeared. The terminal beeped twice and both mails were from Omega. Neither of them had subject lines or any text, just attachments. I opened the one titled MPP Doc and read it. Nothing that I didn't already know, but I got a sinking feeling in the pit of my stomach as I opened the next attachment. Classified, Tier 3. Pinor 3 Skirmish After Action Report Mission. Assist Republic Forces against Omni-Union Attack System Information. G2V Star, 3 planets, 1 habitable friendly forces. S to 1,500 Republic ships, 90 U.S. ships. Enemy forces, S to 1,395,000 ships. 1 MPP result. Unknown enemy damages. All Allied forces lost. 82 U.S. ships lost. 6 U.S. ships damaged. Summary. The United Systems Quick Response Force assigned to Republic Space received a request for aid from Republic forces in Pinor 3. The QRF was spread thin, supporting Republic forces elsewhere, but Rear Admiral Nome was able to gather 90 ships to respond to the request for aid. Nome did not have any scouts to spare, and as such, was lacking critical mission intelligence, but due to the context of the request, he was expecting a heavy OU presence. His forces were met by 1,395,000 OU ships and 1 mobile prime platform, which immediately began firing. Rear Admiral Nome was killed in action, along with his ship and 82 of our vessels. Our vessels that were able to escape were not pursued. The mobile platform's AI intentions are unknown, but it is suspected that it is attempting to establish a foothold. Recommendations: bolster the QRF monitor, Pinor 3, until Project Gungnir is complete. Allocate any and all necessary assets to expedite the completion of Project Gungnir Assault MPP ASAP. I turned off my terminal and held my head in my hands, resting my elbows on my desk. By the stars above and below, there's an MPP in Republic space trying to establish a foothold. That's in Republic space, though, so why are we so concerned? What am I missing? Is the brass wanting to perform combat testing of the new ships immediately, or are they concerned that Sol may be the next to be attacked? If humanity were to simply give up on Sol and cut their losses, they'd still have plenty of economic and military might. They might get a black eye politically, but they'd survive, no doubt. I sighed. No, humanity wouldn't do that. Humans are infamously stubborn, and whenever there's even a shred of honor on the line, they'll tear apart the cosmos for it. If an MPP showed up in Sol, they'd probably throw everything they have at it, dragging the entire US along for the ride. It would be best if they used the Gungnir ships instead of the standard fleet, I guess. I ran my fingers through my hair and triggered the public address system. Attention all staff, this is Chief Engineer Bunt. Overtime has been canceled. New staff members are on their way to take over the double shifts. Instead of the OT, we'll be getting bonuses that are dependent on how quickly we do our job. Expect a mail with details soon. If you have questions, don't hesitate to ask your immediate superior. Time to build some ships.